In order to create a t-shirt, you're going to use the t-shirt template that I have provided, which is this guy right here. You're going to need Photoshop to open the file. Without it, I'm not exactly sure what you can do with it, but Photoshop is necessary for this. So in this case, we have our shirts, and these are the different layers. Inside these layers, there's some effects and stuff that are on there, but I've labeled them out red, blue, yellow, black, and white. This eyeball will control which layer is visible. So in this case, the blue one is up here on top. If I unclick that, the next layer down that has the eyeball is white, and that one is visible. In the case of, like, if I had all of these on, you'll notice it'll change color, but the red one is the very top layer, and it sits on top of the rest of the layers, so in this case, you're going to see the red. Now, if I were to say turn off the white, the black, you notice that nothing's changing in the screen because the red one is sitting on top. However, if I, let's say I turn the black one on, I click this, and then I turn the red one off, you're going to see that the black turns on. So that's how the layers work, and the order definitely does make a difference. So in the case of, let's say I have the red and the blue, let's say I drag the red one underneath the blue, you'll notice that even though they're both on, the blue is on top, and that's why it's showing up here. On top of that, you're going to see these cyan colored lines. These are just guides to help place the images. This one around the perimeter is just some spacing that we need to have. This one in the center of the shirt is kind of more or less just to help us figure out where the center is. So I'm going to open up an image. Let's just say, let's use this one. I'm going to drag it into my Photoshop file, and then it's going to create something called a smart object. And what we're going to go ahead and do with this is, you notice how at the moment the image is sitting behind the shirt. I'm going to go ahead and press enter to get rid of that selection, and I'm going to drag this on the very top. So I'm going to drag blue underneath, and you see how the image now is on top of the shirt layer. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to hit edit transform. And that's going to be free transform. So I'm on a Mac. For me, it's Command T, and you're going to notice it comes up with this shape with this X in the middle, and that's a signal for me to let me know that I can adjust the size of this. So in order to keep the same proportions, I have to hold Shift and grab one of the corners and pull that up. So I'm holding Shift, I'm clicking and holding the corner, and I drag it, and you're going to see it proportionally resizes. I'm going to undo that really quick. And if I were to, if I didn't hold Shift, this is what would happen when I resized. You see how the proportion gets weird and it doesn't look correct? So if I hold Shift, it lets me toggle between the two. I know you can't see that at the moment, but what I'm doing, I'm still clicking and holding, but Shift keeps the same proportion. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in the middle. If for some reason you're having difficulty using that Shift command when you're resizing, up here you're going to see inside the transform is you could lock these two dimensions, and however you shift one will adjust the other. So right now, if I were to click and hold the W, it would allow me to drag that up. That's another way of doing the same thing. So in this case, I'm assuming this is kind of more or less where I want that, that background. It looks fine to me at the moment. I'm going to press enter, we'll return, and that's going to save my transform. And at that point, you're done. You would go to File, and you would either export it, save for the web, or you go to File and then Save As, and that would be here. And in just a moment, you'll get just a standard save, but you're going to have to change this file extension. Right now it says PSD at the end, and that is a Photoshop format which is not readable on a lot of, like most web won't read it, and it also makes the file size really big. So I would go ahead and change this to JPEG, and if I save it as a JPEG, so I'll say test t-shirt. So I'm going to save that out. And you want to be careful with how you name the files. One, it's important for the naming because it helps you find it later. But two, it makes a difference, an impact on your SEO. So if you have things that are relevant to your content, it'll show up in searches, and that's what you want. You want people to end up on the site. So, like I said, test t-shirt is what I'm naming it in this case because it's a test, but I mean, I could name it something more relevant. I'm not sure what team this is. I don't know. Let's just say Everton. Everton Agaroo T-shirt. I mean, like this would be a more relevant name, and I think this would be a better impact. But I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And then I've got a copy of this. You don't necessarily need to save the template. You could go ahead and delete this layer and then close it out. I wouldn't save the template, or I wouldn't make any permanent changes to the template. The way it is right now is more or less how you should keep it, so don't save. And then from here, I would go log into the back end of the site, and I would add new media. And then, I'm not exactly sure where I saved that. Oh, there we go. So this is the shirt that I saved out. Cool, this looks like the template that I need, and I would go ahead and drag it in here, and then this would add it to our media library. Alright, so if I go to our library, I should expect to see the shirt that I just added in there. If you need to delete this shirt, in this case we're deleting this, I would go to delete permanently. And that will get rid of the shirt. Another point to mention in the media library is duplicate names. So let's say I need to make an edit and I deleted that image and I realized, oh, the sizing was wrong or the color was wrong or something was wrong with the shirt or the image that I uploaded. The next time that I upload an image, you may have an issue with the naming. So you want to keep the names unique, and sometimes you might have to say, if you need to make an edit to an image like 8-Ball Everton shirt, I might have to say 8-Ball Everton shirt -1 or -2 or -3 or something more specific like -blue, -red. That's important because sometimes WordPress will have an issue with you uploading 2 files of the same name even though you deleted one of them. So that's important. Now with regards to the images that are already uploaded in here, you may have some issue like the images that are on the wrong side, and I'll show you what I mean with that. So in this case, like this Holy Trinity on wall, I'm going to open this up, and the image right now is sitting sideways. This is in a landscape format. We want it to be in a portrait. At least that's my intuition tells me that that should be the case. And an example of where you're going to see that is, actually let's go to the shot. So when we get here and we get to the Everton shop page, you're going to notice that this image right here is on the wrong axis. It needs to be rotated 90 degrees. So your choice is either doing that like in a photo editing program like Photoshop. You could even do it in an iPhone. Or if you've already got it uploaded, you're going to have to make that edit on the WordPress site. So in this case, like this right here, we've already scaled it down to the correct dimensions, so that's fine. But now we have to rotate it. And the way we do that is go to Edit Image, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. This will rotate it to the left, this will rotate it to the right, or this will be clockwise and that will be counterclockwise. So clicking that will rotate it, and that's the way we want it. So I would go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to update the image afterwards. And now when I go back to the media library, I should expect to see this image in the correct orientation. So when I scroll down, great, that's what I'm seeing. So you're going to have to go ahead and when you upload your images, make sure that they're in the correct orientation because these seem like they're incorrect at the moment. So I would go back to edit image, rotate, save that, and then looks good, the dimensions are fine, go ahead and update. And one last point in terms of naming. So here the naming is fine. I would suggest renaming the images before you upload so that the naming is something better than, to be honest, I don't know what that naming convention is. But, I mean, it's easier to find an image when it says 8-ball Everton shirt rather than B4, E5, so on and so forth. So that would be my suggestion of updating those, updating the image name before uploading it to the site. But if you don't have access to it, like what I just showed is an alternative. You could do it through the WordPress side. It just might be a little bit more helpful to update this naming before you even upload it. So I'll do one more. I think this might be one of the last ones to do. But these are two things to keep in mind going forward when you're updating stuff on the site. So edit image, rotate, and then it's saved out. And then update there.